Hey, it's Bill Gross, the LA probate expert, with this week's real estate market update. And lions and tigers and bears, oh my! Should one be scared? I feel like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. I have to act like I'm scared when I read the real estate news today. And let's take a look at it. I just did a quick Google search on the housing market, and the answers I got back were. The top answers: home sellers are realizing it's no longer their housing market. Now, that's an interesting thing because there's not enough inventory. And at the end of the day, the seller decides to sell their house or not. So for the sale of their house, clearly it's still their market. So that headline's ridiculous from Yahoo Money. Redfin's chief economist says housing market correction has begun. Now, of course, they've laid off a chunk of their staff, so he better support that thing. And things are going to get worse before they get better, he's predicting. I'm not sure where he gets his crystal ball. I don't think the data supports that. Next, Newsweek, housing market crash could see values of homes plummet in these 11 states. Of course, they don't tell you which states it's in. And plummet sounds worse when you look at the numbers. They're talking about 3 to 5%. That's hardly plummeting. I think when you hear the word plummet, you're thinking 25 or 50% drops in value. Yeah, I could go on forever. Yahoo Finance, housing market where prices are cooling off first. And here's the last one. The housing bubble requires 3 elements. The 2022 housing market has hit 2. Doesn't mean we're going to hit the 3rd. And so I think there's a lot of fear and uncertainty in the market today. And I always try to go back to the actual data. What's the data showing us in the market right now to make the best decisions for us? And I don't think it supports that we're facing a housing crash. Now, things can change. I always say, China could invade Taiwan. Russia could invade 3 other countries. A lot of things can happen that would change. But based on the cards you've been dealt today, clearly we've seen the worst of it in the last 6 months based on where the information is. Let's look at the data. So first I'm going to go to National Market, Teradata, one of the best sources, and it shows the inventory. And you hear a lot of news about inventory rising, and it's true. The number of homes on the market has finally almost hit last year's record low, meaning we're still below last year, below the last 3 years, the lowest percentage in history, still by only 2%. And it might pass last year. Remember, last year was a global pandemic called COVID. We're still not even there yet. So I'm not sure what that means. New listings, it's true, it's hard to see in this graph that new listings so far 2022 are now down by last year by about 6%, up from the prior year 714, kind of in the middle of the mix. So new listings are coming to the market about the same as they have over the last 5 years, excepting this one chunk of time during the peak of the COVID drop. The market seems to be coming back towards normal as far as new listings. Homes under contract are lower than prior years. Now remember, the last 2 years were record years, and we have less homes. But though I will say what's clear is the lack of inventory and the rise in rates has caused sales to drop. And that's not, though, a housing crisis unless prices also drop, and that's not happening. I'll show you in a bit. Overall solds have also dropped from last year 33%, up though over 14%. So what that means is the number of solds are now lower than they were in the last period of time. I think what we're seeing is because of the lower inventory, less buyers are able to buy, less sellers are choosing to sell. Here's another interesting statistic: is off market is shooting up off the roof. Now those are national numbers. Here locally in Los Angeles, homes for sale has risen finally above the pandemic levels, but still below pre-pandemic levels. So while it has gone up dramatically, it's kind of like saying, yeah, it's gone up dramatically, kind of like attendance at movie theaters. It's gone up, it's still below where it was. So does that mean that it's record highs? Well, no. We still have a ways to go. Also, take a look at closed sales. Again, dropping a bit. There's always a seasonal bit of a drop. It's still in the range of the prior years. New listings, still pretty high, lower than prior years. Here's a key one. Days on market has turned up, and you'll see a lot of news reporting that, but in reality, still well below almost any time in history, the days on market in our local multiple listing service. And here's 2 key statistics I always look at. Percentage of last list. Now, some of these outlaw prices, but the bottom line is we're still selling homes at close to the list price, and the dollar per square foot. And this is an important number also. This is saying the overall housing prices have gone up. It's cooling off the last few months, but periodically we go up and down, up and down, up and down. Hey, new highs are coming back down again, but we're still above any other time in history how much a home is selling for per square foot. So by any measure, we're not in a housing crisis. We're not in a crash, maybe lower activity, but prices are really holding steady overall. Now, what are the underlying factors? And here's the key question. Did housing prices, were they affected by the market or will they be affected by the future? Meaning, a lot of these articles are projecting future problems. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. But what I want to tell you is where we are today is better than we were just a couple weeks ago. Take a look at interest rates. Now, this is where the news is also deceptive. Most news reports the Freddie Mac survey of lenders, which is really the average of closed loans were locked in some cases 2-3 weeks ago. And you'll notice that interest rates actually went up, peaking slightly over 6.25%, and now dropping in the last few weeks down below almost to 5.5% exactly. So what's happened is this average is going to have to come back down to this number. So the press is going to report the market's dropping here real soon. They can't get away with it anymore. Excuse me, talking about increasing rates when the reality is rates have dropped. Does that mean they're going to go down more? I don't know. Does that mean they're going to go up again? I don't have a crystal ball. But what I do know is they're not continuing on an upward path. They've come back down a bit. They're not spiraling out of control. They might spiral out of control if things change, but right now, that's not what's happening. Let me give you another factor that will also influence you. The cost of building houses is affected by lumber. Lumber prices have been very volatile because of COVID. We had supply chain issues and manpower issues, but the headline is lumber prices down 21% year over year. Now, gas, for example, had gone up. I think I paid $6.25, now down to about $6.10, $6.09. So yes, it went up tremendously and it hurts tremendously, but that doesn't mean it's going to continue to go up 50% year over year. It means it went up 50%. Maybe this is the new normal. Maybe things settle in here. Maybe we have an 8% inflation rate. But all the statistics seem to indicate that we passed some sort of peak a few weeks ago and things are settling in for new normal. Now, the other thing I want to point out is there's a lot of general business press talking about, are we going to have recession the end of this year or is recession next year? What are the odds of us having recession? I studied economics in college. The definition of a recession is a period of 2 consecutive quarters of declining gross domestic product. That's the definition. Well, we know the first quarter, gross domestic product, GDP, went down. It feels to me like the second quarter was similarly, maybe went down, meaning we might have just finished a recession. It might have happened already. First quarter, second quarter. Here we are in July as of today. Maybe we were in a recession. Maybe we'll be in one that's prolonged for a while. But what's clear is we're in a recession. And a couple of things happen with a recession. Yes, it's true. Causes a lot of problems for businesses, but also cools off demand, which causes interest rates to drop. One of the factors that hurt the housing market was the rise in interest rates. But since it seems that we've since now peaked and come down a bit, maybe along with that, the new rates will get buyers to resettle in and buy more houses. I don't have a crystal ball, but here's what I can tell you. What's true is right now, there's no housing crash. Right now, there's no bubble popping. Might the Biden administration change policies that make things worse? I guess they could. I hope they don't. I don't have a crystal ball. Might the Republicans win the election, change things for better or worse? Everything's possible. Could international things change? Of course, anything's possible. But based on right now, it appears as though we passed through the worst of the rates. We're selling into a market with inflation of maybe 6 to 8%, mortgage rates of 5.5% or so, a housing market that's cooler than years past, but still sellers being able to get the price they want or just pulling off the market. So I don't think we're in a housing crash. That all said, what should you do? Well, if you're looking to sell, great time to sell. There's still great demand. I have buyers and buyers agents call me on my listings every single day. So if you want to sell, though, we got to be more careful. We have to be more methodical, and we can't just name a price, expect to get it. On the buyer side, you want to make sure that you know your numbers, you know what you qualify for loan-wise, and if you find the property you want, you get an escrow, you can lock in that rate. Of course, rates can go down and you can approve them, but what we don't do is get caught in a transaction where rates are going up on you. So if I can help you, I'm Bill Gross, the probate expert. Call me, text me, or email me as always, and make today your best day ever. Thanks.